importance of early child education. Now, the importance of early child education is not something new to the psychologists. For a long time, they know that it is very important, and they coined the word formative years to indicate the importance. But you see, little importance is given to this to the early years until the findings of neuropsychologists, which show that the early years are most critical for the well-being, for the development well-being not only of the children but also of the nation, because the nation needs quality citizens to be a quality citizen. And therefore, if you are early childhood educators here, I salute to you. You are the nation builders. So those who are early child educators, put up your hands. You are the nation builders, so you have a very critical role to play. And so we will try to finish. We will finish within the stipulated time. And so I will just call upon the first speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Soon Singh Dai, to make his presentation. Okay, I think the second speaker. So, Dr. Asni, can you?
Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. This is my first time with KSI. Thank you, teacher, Dato, and all the committee inviting me to be one of the speakers. Okay, my topic is ensuring quality to early childhood education. Okay, I've been with early childhood education since I joined University of Malaya in 2007. Okay, in a report by UNESCO 2022. You can find it because I also have slides, but I will talk directly from my phone here. So ensuring quality to early childhood education is crucial for overall development and well-being of children. And as Dr. Dato mentioned just now, it's a very huge responsibility for all educators to meet. Although it's an early childhood education, but for early years, but we are the foundations for these children for to undergo their future. Yeah. So from my reading and from my discussion with my early childhood educators from my faculty, we have summarized 7 strategies to ensure the quality of our early childhood education based on our Malaysian philosophy of education. Yeah, the first one is universal access. Universal access, that means we have to ensure that we should give the right to all the children to have this early childhood education. Because if we look at the street children, especially from the East Coast and also from especially the Chapit area, they don't have the opportunity or ability to go for their early childhood education because of they don't have their citizenship, they don't have the right documents, they don't have the ability, the times, and so on. Okay, so it's universal access. The second one is affordability to learn. There should be a committee to implement, as we discussed before this forum, that they should have a standard of for the committee to implement or measure to make sure that the early childhood education more affordable, especially for those in the city. Although they earn 5,000, but they are still considered as B40. And you know, childcare for one child costs more than 300. Imagine you have 3 children, it's half of your salary gone, and you have to work from 9 to 5. And when you come home, uh, because of the traffic jam, you have to pay another amount of money to the owner of the childcare because of the traffic. This is a scenario, the reality, what happened in especially in Kuala Lumpur. Yeah. And also, we have to ensure the affordability to learn is to ensure that the cost doesn't become a barrier to accessing quality early childhood education for the children, especially in the rural area. Okay, because we know the cost and of the uniform, the books, the programs, the assessments, and so on is increasing nowadays. Okay, the key strategies. The number third is teacher training and qualifications. As I discussed with my colleague here, there's a article that I have read. Maybe it happened also in Malaysia, but this case is in USA, where the plumber or the hair salon, where the people they have to get a qualification to become a plumber. But when they apply for early childhood or educator in schools, they don't need qualifications. As long as they can speak, they have time, they have a certain ability in physical, they can be educated. So that lower the quality of educators. And I sure I'm not, I haven't read the survey. I think that's happened also, especially in the homeowner childcare. They don't have the quality, they don't have the training, they don't have the human touch to become a childcare. So that's what happened lately. We can see the mental health increase among these educators because they don't have this psychological training to with the children. Okay, that is number three. The number four is curriculum and standards. As we know, I think you are aware that the curriculums and standards of education, early childhood education, come from various, as mentioned by Prof. Mazli just now. We have Jakim, we have Kemas, we have MOE, all sorts of uh, agency that have their own curriculum and standards. So I think there's a huge need now that this committee or the experts from early childhood they have to come together. Although they have the same acts, but we don't have the same curriculums and standards. Okay. So number five, the key strategy is parental involvement. Okay, we are aware that we are working. Some of us are working from 9 to 5 shift, and we send our children with a big trust to the care owner. So we should have the parent involvement. Perhaps maybe every month meeting with the educators or early childhood in kindergarten. Yeah. So key strategy number six, monitoring and evaluations. Okay, I think this will be discussed further by my other colleagues on as how to assess uh, the early childhood. Yeah, regularly monitor and evaluate the quality of early childhood education programs to ensure they meet the established standards. Okay, so sorry to mention some of the kindergarten, they proudly say they are best. Okay, they are we use the curriculum from other country and to adapt with our national curriculum and national philosophy. But how sure they are? Is there any assessment done by the agency, or are they willing to be assessed by outsider in the facilities, in the curriculum, in the standards, or in the the teacher itself? Okay. Okay. Last one is the key strategy that I have here is community engagement. Of course, we know this is a very good platform for everyone to discuss and to give suggestions, opinions on how to ensure the quality of early childhood education. And this is should not stop here. And I think and I believe this is very important that community engagement should be not. only during conference. It should be more on implications and practicality. So lastly, my friends, as a conclusion, I strongly believe that implementing these strategies, the 7 strategies that I mentioned, we can work towards ensuring quality early childhood education for all children, suits with our national philosophy and education, and also suits to our multicultural country, Malaysia.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asni, for completing your presentation on time. I'm glad you brought up about the children, like the childcare children and the street children in Sabah, because vulnerable children are the one who need quality early child education for them to have to have a quality of life, to be useful citizens of Malaysia. And I would like to, in the case of Malaysia, diploma in early child education actually is the requirement, but for some reason, it actually was diploma in education as the minimum qualification for preschool teachers has been actually been implemented, supposed to be implemented in 2018. For various reasons, it cannot be implemented, and now they move it to 2025. But at the rate of the number that have diploma in education, it doesn't look that we are going to achieve. And I think this is due to the fact that um, the government, the Department of Education keep on telling me that if we implement it, our preschool teachers will have to be preschool will have to be closed because there are not enough of teachers with diploma of education. So it is like the horse and the cart, which come first, right? So thank you very much for bringing those two points out. Can I get back to you, Dr. Su? Thank you.
Sure, thank you, Dr. Chan. This is the first time where I had the opportunity to present together with my teacher and my student. So you know who my teacher is in this room. Dr. Chan used to teach me when I was a student in the University of Malaya, in the Faculty of Education. I always acknowledge her presence here, and my student in my. Okay, so basically, I will go very briefly because since I prepared the PowerPoint, I might as well show some PowerPoints. You may want to take some picture out of it. Okay, now basically when I was invited to speak in this particular conference itself, I want to show you some evidence because this thing keep on cropping up whenever parents want to enroll their students for ECE-L university. The question is, do we have sufficient ECE teachers? So I look up at the actual data from the Ministry of Education, from the Planning and Research Division, and do some simple calculations, and here are the findings. Okay? Okay, now, what I'm trying to say here is that, in the field of ECE, there's still a lot of potential for it. Okay, if you look at the figures here, I just do some very simple calculation in terms of ratio here. Okay, let us talk government school, public school, as well as private school. Okay, now for public school, okay, we have got 0.96 teachers per class. Okay, 0.96 teachers per class. What is the normal calculation for teachers per primary school? It's 1.5. So that is a possibility there. For private school, okay, let us look at private school. Okay, for private school, we have not this one, okay, so sorry. We have 1.3. The earlier one. Okay, we have 1.3. 1.3 here. Okay, 1.3 ratio of 1.3 teachers per class. Okay, according to the ECCE Council itself, okay, the maximum number of teachers assigned per class is 35. So if you are going to do some computation, okay, I think basically there is still a potential growth, models in this particular field, and that explains why many colleges and universities are offering this education. So I have this is a typical example. Okay? Okay for that. Okay, now the question is how are we going to control the quality itself? Now there must always be a quality management system here. Okay? Most universities they adhere to ISO 9001. So this is the one. Okay? So we will have got to follow the ISO quality management system in contact with the main procedures as well as the support procedures. So we need to put this in place because these are full accredited programs by NGA. So I will not explain into the principles of PDCA, plan, do, check, act, and all those fast itself. We can get it. It will be relevant to your institution. Okay, now what is important now, from my observation, we know that generative AI just came out in the last year. And students, ECE students are very smart. They can easily adopt. So what we find, what we discovered is that in the last few months, students have been using ChatGPT to do their assignment.
Yeah.
It is very important for us to put a proper mechanism, and fortunately, so I show you our familiar with our university, now has got that AI similarity check. So how do you verify that? So I tell my lecturers to ask ChatGPT whether this student has copied from ChatGPT. Okay, they submitted this one and ask GPT, okay, what is the conclusion, things like that, and ChatGPT will tell you precisely. Because we have cases 100% from ChatGPT, very, very good essay. In addition to the similarity index generator. So we really have this problem. Okay? We can discuss further because it is machine learning and it's big data. So we have got this issue. Now, in order to allow for more people, okay, to be given an ECE education, for example, diploma in early childhood education, okay, we should promote online and distance learning. Okay, online business. My university doesn't have kids, okay, but I use come from it. Now, in online business, what is important will be the approaches and the technology involved. There are many types of approaches, whether it's going to be fully online or it's going to be branded. But Malaysia, NQA allow 60% of the branded programs to be conducted online, 60% based on credit hours. So there's vast potential for this, basically because many of our diploma in early childhood education teachers in the kindergarten, they are working adults. So they cannot come for face-to-face lessons. So we will apply for that, okay, in future itself through some approaches suitable for their needs itself. And then we got to ensure the necessary technology that they can access here, a good learning management system as well as proper instructional materials because they are working adults and we have difficulty in finding the time. Now, one very good program, I think it was spoken in some other forum, is APLQ. We have three types of APL, APL A, APL C, and APLQ. Now, APLQ. Now, we find that APLQ is very suitable for ECE teachers because it would allow them an accelerated way of getting a diploma in early childhood education or even a master's in early childhood education. Okay, they need to have only 12 years of experience, teaching experience as an early childhood education teacher, come into the university and spend something like 6 to 8 months, possible something longer, to get the diploma in early childhood education. Okay, so there are various things that they got to fulfill, the capstone, challenge test, field validation, portfolio, all these are things, which I think we are quite comfortable because we are at current doing a pilot study on this, a pilot test actually on this. Okay? you very much.
Right. Oh. Thank you very much, Dr. Zoon, for again keeping much within the time. I would like just to point to, I'm very glad that he talked about the training program in the university. And earlier on, I said that only about 6%, the figures that the preschool teachers in private kindergarten have diploma in early child education. So and I'm glad that you brought up the what is Apple Q, because it's one of the programs that I'm very involved. I'm in the panel. The reason why, actually, one of the reasons that this has been offered is actually to help the preschool teachers have a diploma in early childhood education. That is one of the main purpose of having this, so that with your working experience, you can can get a diploma in early education. But it does not just depend on just because you have 10 years or 20 years of teaching. You must also show that you have the skill and knowledge equivalent to the diploma to teachers, preschool teachers who go through the normal stream, right? So there's not as you think, just because you have 10 years of teaching experience. Not, you must have the knowledge and the competence of the same as those that have gone through the normal program. And I also glad that you have brought up that actually the government and the universities and colleges are doing are going all out to enable preschool teachers to get the diploma in early child education, and one of them, as you pointed out, is the distance learning, right? So there's no excuse that you do not have access to training, right? And we need, you see, what is very important is that you may have a beautiful curriculum, but if your teachers are not do not have the competence and the knowledge, you are not going to have quality children with quality experience. And that's why it is so important to have teachers with the knowledge and the skills to provide children with the kind of experiences, quality experiences that enable quality brain development. Right? Thank you very much. Now to you, Izawati. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Datuk Chiang. First of all, thank you to the organizer because for this invitation, for me to feel very great to sit together with the very, very great people here. We have Datuk Chiang, Dr. Izni, Prof. Soon, and also Dr. Hadijah. And I believe that our audience also, they come from the very good backgrounds in early child education. Maybe some of you are the ECE, industry player, preschool owner, the educators as well, is it? Alright, so refer back to the topics in these sessions, which is the access in early child education and to ensuring the quality. Alright, so we go back to the foundations of the access in terms of the parents and children's. Okay, just now Prof. Soon explains about the access of education, ECE educations, for the students, for the educators, okay, for our future educators, for the students in university. But we go back to the foundation, which is how is it the access for parents, for children in Malaysia? Okay, we know that our curriculums is developing well. We have our national preschool curriculum. We have Permata for infants and toddlers. We also have inspired a curriculum from Reggio Emilia, from Montessori, all right? Okay, but the issues, the question is, either this access is distributed well, okay, for the children, especially in a rural area. All right, we know that some of the areas in Sabah, Sarawak, there is still no proper access for early childhood education. Am I right? Maybe certain areas in Malaysia. And we see from the situation in COVID-19, okay, the access in ECE changed 100%, which is we push ourselves to access the informations, the teaching and learning activities for ECE through digitalized. All right, digitalized early childhood education. Okay, so nowadays we can see that actually all the informations, the technique, the methods that parents or teachers, they can't just get it through internet. Alright? Okay? But same again, the question is either this access is distributed well for all parents and education in Malaysia. Because we know that some areas there is no internet connections, alright? Okay, so this is the issue that we need to discuss, for this session. Okay, and then we go back to the ensuring the quality, which is we can see that we need to stress in terms of the shift in philosophy. Okay, so when the ECE players in Malaysia, alright, the curriculum developer, they come up with the different philosophy from time to times, okay, to make sure that they can fulfill the current demands from the parents, from the children itself, okay, from the global demands in terms of the early child education, right? And then, how is it this philosophy, this pedagogy that developed being implemented by the teachers? Okay, again, we go back that teachers is a very important persons in implementing, okay, whatever that we have developed in our curriculum, okay? So because, so we want to see how we're going to help the teachers so that they can improve from time to times, all right, to develop their passions, okay? Because my experience as a teacher for almost 15 years in the industry, we really need a lot of energy to make sure that we keep energetic in educating young children, motivating, keep motivates, okay? A lot of the issues affected, for example, low salary, what happened behind the low salary, especially for the teachers who are teaching in private kindergarten. I'm also the kindergarten's owner previously. The issue is we depend 100% on the fees that paid by the parents. Okay, so how are we going to pay to the teachers? Maybe they have a good quality to motivate them so that they can improve. All right, from time to times, they're willing to learn. So right, so what kind of the support that we can give to make sure that the ensuring the quality of early education will be continuously in Malaysia. Okay. All right. Other than that, collaboration between industry, community, and also the university as well. Okay, this is also very important to make sure that the access from time to time. Okay, which is we need to make sure that not only the teachers have a qualification in early child education, but also the owners, okay, the operators, because they also need to know the foundations knowledge about the early child education so that they can support their teacher, they can provide the supports, okay, the necessary support for the teachers to keep going, give the best for the young children. Okay, so I think that's all, Dr. Chiang.
All right. Thank you, Isawati. I'm glad you point out this too. One is that even if you have online, these children in the remote area will still do not have access because of the internet connection. So how do we solve this? And of course, they try to train the girls in the village, train them, and then bring them back to the villages. But it is also being found that once the girls come and then they are trained, they stay back in KL because they get higher salary and they don't want to go back to the village. So it doesn't solve the problem. So there's again this problem. And the second one that I glad you point out is that it's not only not only the teachers that need to have knowledge and to be trained in early child, but the operators themselves, because you need to guide your teachers. You need what is important. But you see, nowadays, early childhood education seems to be very profitable. And so you have big companies, enterprises who come for example, Busy Bee has come into Malaysia and take over many of our kindergarten. But we hope that they are not only seeing from the profit point of view, but they must make sure that they are delivering quality education. So I'm glad you brought up that point. And the other point that you brought up, which I think is very critical, is that you have teachers, you have beautiful curriculum, you have beautiful pedagogy, but if the teachers do not have the competency, the knowledge to implement them, the children will still do not have quality experiences for the brain development. right? So thank you. So last but not least, to you, Professor Dr. Hadija.
Thank you, Dato. Good day. I'm very happy to be here. I'm actually the odd one out. I am not from the faculty of education at all. I don't teach early childhood education. But I was once upon a time, for a long, long time, a teacher. So I was one of the practitioners who got thrown into teaching young children without any training.
Oh.
So I was doing my master's in social science, my PhD also is in history. So in order to sustain my life, I was working as a teacher. But of course, our government and public education requires a lot of strict certifications, right? So I went to the other side of the coin, in which the private businesses, which is, it is a profit-making side of education in Malaysia. So as somebody in higher education, that was my first time seeing young children, dealing with young children. At first, I was teaching the teenagers, A level, O level, and then we changed to the IGCSE, right? And then they sent me to teach lower levels and then kindergarten. So I was the one who inheriting the pedagogy, the curriculum without any training at all. So I have a lot of empathy and compassion to these young penanggung-pengajar workforce in Pakistan because they don't have much other opportunities. They probably don't have education, probably not even diploma in ECE, yet they could find jobs, right? So these provide them opportunities to job, but they don't have the right training. So for me, even having that empathy and compassion, I was privileged because I'm educated. So the moment that I finished my education, I could pursue what I dreamed of doing. So from the point of view of somebody who's seen that, who's been in private industry, who's been in the public education as well, I see that there is a lot of opportunities. Even though we've been talking a lot about the negative impacts of having teachers and instructors and these teaching assistants who are there in action without the training. So I see a lot of collaborations, and I also see that even my university, City University, have diploma in ECE. When they come out, when they have the diploma, they don't want to be kindergarten teacher. They want to be the manager of that kindergarten. They want to be in private schools, Health International School. I was in Asia Pacific International School, UCSI International School. They want those positions because higher salary. There is a title, assistant manager, something like that. They don't want to be kindergarten teachers. So I think this is the gap that we can match. Get people who do have the training, who do have the education, who understand the theories, and then match it with people who are in action, who just got there because they need a job. And turns out because they have to do the job, they kind of are good at it. Yeah, people who do it in action can be somewhat better. So I remember one of the discussions that we had earlier. Some fresh graduates, they're not very much favored by the industry. So first, because they are more pricier, they're more expensive. Second, because they only know theories. So when they go to interviews, when you know that, oh, they have diploma ECE or degree ECE or even certification, yeah, they're not the ones who are favored because they might not have the industrial experience. So there is a lot of mismatch and misaligned expectation from universities who's like, oh, pushing our students to get diploma and selling our diploma, and then what kindergarten honors and private schools are wanting, right? So there is a lot of opportunities that we can match, and because ECE industry and market is not really regulated yet by the government. It's the complete opposite for now with the primary education, both private and public. So there is a lot of opportunities here. So teachers, educators who are part of the policy making, who can do research and contribute to the policies, can actually be the first movers. Even industry, business owners, this is our opportunities to actually be the first mover to set the grounds properly. Because right now it's all haywire. It's a business at the end of the day right now. There is no like, this is a pillar, this is the standard, and we should move forward that way. But there is a lot of variations. So got nurseries without any license. We have transit places, houses, businesses run from houses without any license at all. So all of these are causing negative impacts, but there are also opportunities. So I think there is a lot of rooms for us to step in, and for educators like us, academics like us, probably we can write more. We can invite practitioners to share ideas with us. But I also encourage business owners, practitioners to invite us as well, because at the end of the day, we are academics. There are certain walls around us, and we really want to contribute. And we feel like we have the most advanced theories, but we also want to apply it into action. We don't want it to be stuck in the ivory tower anymore. We want it to be applied, but we need also to be invited and approached, and we welcome all sorts of invitations that we can collaborate. That's one other thing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hadija, for pointing out the fact that it's not just good enough to acknowledge, you have to have passion in order to be a good educator. I think, thank you very much. And I also like the point that you say that, that is, you need practice, practical experience. Is so often, this why in the program standard of early child education, that the lecturers need to have experiences, because you need just not theory. You must you must help the children, your students see how they can be implemented. So if you do not have the practical experience, that you will not be able to help your students to see its application. So it's not theory itself, but you need the knowledge of how to not knowledge, rather than competency to use that theory to be put into practice. So thank you very much for bringing that up. Now, I hope we have going to have lively discussion. But before I open it to the floor, I have questions to put to all the four panelists here. The first one, Dr. Soon, you brought up about the AI and distant learning in delivering lectures in the university. But to me, it's not possible. How good the AI is. It's not possible for them to use AI in early childhood education, because for the brain development, it has been shown that children learn. They develop because due to the interaction with human being. They must see the expression. They must feel the warmth and all that. And although you find that yes, the AI could be like a human being and all that, but it's still not a human being, right? And also in the case of distant learning too, and that's why during the pandemic time, or during the pandemic period, although they're online, and yet you find that quite a number of children suffer from emotional problems, especially in terms of social interaction. So how would you, do you think, in spite of this, the AI can still be used to provide quality early child education, and also to provide access to early child education, particularly for those in the remote area? So to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chan. Of course, AI cannot be applied in the context of children in the classroom. I was talking about the students at the university level, my ECE students. Despite the fact that we don't have any subject on AI because it's relatively new, students tended to be up to date with the latest technology, very ICT savvy and all this other thing. So before the lectures actually could use Judge GPT, and now what they are looking for. Okay, these students in ECE have been using that for their assignments. So what I was trying to say is that this may affect the quality of ECE programs that we are running itself. That explains why there's a need for us to put some sort of rules and regulations on the students. But fortunately, the latest study, if you subscribe to it, has got that feature. Okay, when it undertakes a similarity check, there will be one section known as AI there, and then the regular similarity check itself. So it is divided into two itself. So if a student has got 50% AI plus similarity check of 20, 50 plus 20, 70%, which is not acceptable in any case itself. Okay? So what I have not seen is that universities have set the cutoff for AI. Okay, for AI, for ChatGPT or what now, for AI. So there's a need for us to not only look at the rules and regulations, but also determine the cutoff for AI check. Because the students are already using, many students are already using it. So, okay?
Okay, sure. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Maybe I also have some suggestions from bits of experience as a lecturer in classroom. Not that we say that AI is not good, but in order to get a quality of students, we prefer to have sort of different assessment, not to put the assignments in the team or wherever. We prefer to have like face-to-face interactions with the students to see their quality in communications, their thinking skills, and their teamwork. So that's why we already started our alternative assessments and also activities, different activities in class. For example, we had opportunity to work with one of in Russia university that we give them new article in the classroom. So in the classroom, we assess them individual and how they say and how they give comments or opinion or suggestions in the article. So that is one way for us not to use the team, but to use a different approach to assess the students in our faculty.
So, it can be used at the tertiary level or even the secondary level. But then my contention is that it cannot be used in the prime and in the early years because
Yeah,
you need.
yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to imply, right? Okay, thank you. Now, to you, Dr. Ashley. Now, the learning ecosystem in early childhood. There are four systems in the ecosystem in early childhood. The one that, of course, we know that is very important is the either preschool or childcare center sub ecosystem, right? The second one is the overarching external sub ecosystem, which comprise the curriculum, the policies, and so forth. But then there are two more, and one is the home subsystem, and then and the other one is the community sub ecosystem. Now, so far I think you to me so far, and anyway, according to this theory, that all of them are very important to enhance the development of children. But usually the focus in all kindergarten tend to be on the child on the preschool or child sub, and very little attention is given to involve parents and also the community. Usually, they find that it is like on the sideline and not the focus. Uh, what do you how would this change? How would you change this attitude of early child educators and society towards the importance? How would you, especially in your training, how would you sort of convince your students that you have to get involved? It's very important to involve the community. We say that in the African what proverb says, it needs a whole village to bring up a child, right? And I think in the old days, you would say anak kita. Now is it orang lain, anak orang lain, right? So it is the safety of the children that are all very important. So how would you change their attitudes?
Thank you, Dato, for the questions. So we already taken steps on these the third and fourth ecosystems, where in our faculty we have these. I'm sure in every university as well, we have this course, not course, sulam, that is service learning for university. Yeah? So in our case, we include one course that are compulsory for every students, including ECE, PASL, counselors, and so on, to take this course, where one of the objective is for them to get involved with community, and they have to either do project, get involved, and use their field. For example, for ECE students, they have to use their field, the early childhood, to get involved with the community. So we have been done this since 2020, and apart from that, also we have one elective course that the students can choose where they involve with community, and also for parents' involvement. We have done this for our faculty, and by the end of each semester, we have our own competitions for all the faculties. We have 40 faculties for this Sulam project for the faculties. So I am very proud to say that Faculty of Education managed to get one a top five for last semesters, and this involved the early childhood educations, where they go to orang asli and they help the orang asli and do some activities with them. So I think for other universities also they have sulams. I'm not sure how you do imply this, but this is how my faculty do it.
Perhaps during the discussion we can get input from those on the ground, right? How they can involve with the community and parents in enhancing the child's development, right? So now to you, Ms. Izawati, the recent World Bank, report on the recent World Bank comprehensive review of preschool education in Malaysia reported that the preschool enrollment dropped in 2020 to 83.5 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, to the COVID-19 pandemic. And and then in 2021, they found that the enrollment dropped further. This is very worrying, right? The dropping. What would you suggest to the government and other societies that this trend can be arrested or and especially and also to ensure, because Malaysia is a signatory to the sustainable development goal 4.0, that is by 2030 that all girls and boys should have access uh, to quality care, development, and pre-primary education, so that they be ready. Because if they're not ready, they will drop out, and probably it's very hard for them to catch up if they are not ready. And so that's why by this year 6, those that cannot get up, they will drop out. And my research on remand children under remand, we find that those that drop out are likely to be involved in criminal activities. So, have you any suggestion to the government?
Thank you, Dr. Jam. Okay, so when we go back to 2020 and 2021, okay, so we know that what is a COVID-19 situation, is it? That caused a lot of parents to drop their child from the conventional preschool, okay, because there is a lot of issues, the miscommunication, misunderstandings, right, between the parents and also the school itself. Because schools, we need to sustain, so we need to pay our teachers, even though that all of them need to work from home, okay, to provide the digital learning for the children, so right. But for parents, okay, why they need to pay to the schools, okay, if they cannot monitor their child for the digital learning? Some of the parents, maybe they have no digital tools, okay, for them to provide to their child, or maybe some of them they have no time to monitor the children. Maybe they have to pass their child to the grandparents or babysitters, okay, mostly to the grandparents, extended family to take care of them. So who going to monitor the children, okay, to go through the online learning? Okay, because we as a parent, I believe that some of the parents here, you also experience how hectic we are working from home. At the same time, we need to monitor our children at the other room for them to go through the online learning. Okay, for 4 years, 5 years, and 6 years old. All right? And then at the same time, they need to pay for the fees, especially for those who are sending their child at private preschools, international preschools. We know that the fees is quite expensive because they provide something that to the children, okay, to the parents, that are relevant with the fees. All right, so this is the issues that we can see in 2020, 2021, so right? Because I also have my friends who are operating the preschool, okay, they also keep fighting, keep struggling with these issues, right? Parents keep dropping their child because they not believe in the digital learning. Because the issue is how going to monitor the children, okay? So the suggestion to the government, actually governments cannot work alone in these issues. Okay, I believe that all the organization, the parent itself, okay, we need to educate the parents, okay, to give an awareness for them. All right, we need to push ourselves to prepare ourselves, all right, to accept the changing of the access in early child education. Okay, it's not only in conventional way, but also we need to prepare ourselves. Maybe in the future, COVID come again or any other virus will come back, we need to go back and stay at home. All right, so we need to go to the ECE for digital platform as well. Okay, so for me, the awareness is very important. Okay, we give what we call it like what Dr. Masri shared just now, which is the media need to play a role, yeah, to give awareness to the parents about the importance of early child education, no matter what, okay, in any platforms, okay, any methods or techniques, all right, we should provide the early child education to our young children for their lifelong learning skills. Okay, so this is my opinion.
We have to stop at 5:15, so we try to. But I want some reaction from the discussion from the floor. So very quickly, Dr. Hadija, this is that often the employers will complain that newly recruited teachers, not fresh graduates, they have difficulty in handling a class. And then we have people who say that there are also entrepreneurs who say that his on-the-job teachers are better teachers than those with diploma or even with bachelor of early child education. And we also have people who receive students to do the practicum and say, she's fearful of accepting them because very often these these students have very little knowledge of how to conduct the activities, how to interact with the children, and so forth. Now, why are these people, the students on practicum, having all these problems, or even newly graduated students? To you, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Alright, so this is where I think I can offer some insights as my research in the past 5 years, I think, on the action experiential learning. So this has been like other than sustainability, this has been like the tagline of the century: action learning, experiential learning, blended learning, and so on and so forth. But we saw the remarkable increase of efficiency of whatever tools that need to be applied into application. The efficiency of the results were remarkable if our theoretical learning, our curriculum includes action experiential learning. So what do we mean by that? This is beyond internship. This is beyond practical. Action experiential learning is when we send our students out there solving real life problems. So they're not just doing field visits. Field visits are amazing because now they get to see, oh, okay, these are the buildings, these are the people, these are the industry players, they are in action. But it ends there with their reflection paper. But when they go there and they solve the problems using whatever tools that they're currently learning, they could be MBA, they could be bachelor, they could be diploma in EC, yeah? But as long as they solve the problems while they are still students, this is where the valuable skills come into the picture. So there is again a gap. We don't want to call it a failure, but there is a gap in regards to the internship. Because I'm also a public pro UIA, so my first bachelor was in biomedical science. So of course, all the practical learning was in the labs. I was a genetic scientist. I did some molecular studies before I jumped into the social sciences. So when I did my internship, I was absolutely very scared to do anything and everything. And because I was doing internship in Makmal Kerajaan, they didn't force us. If I did it in private labs, they would force, like, they want to make worth their money, right? But I was in a government lab, so the science officers didn't push me. So I didn't learn a lot of things if I didn't push myself, because there was no learning outcomes that made me want to solve any problems. All I had to do was write a report. This is what I observed. This is what I did. I did not have to solve any problems. So to solve problems, real life problems, business at stake would be one of the efficient ways to make our graduates to be valuable when they come in. They cannot just come in with theories, in which they still are right now. So that's why when I was in my earlier slides telling you that teachers, kindergarten teachers, instructors who don't have any education at all, they are high school graduates, with SPM, they go to Tadika, they become Cikgu Tadika, they are better at teaching without understanding theories at all. So probably this gap can be matched together, and to make our graduates more valuable, they need to solve real life issues, and it is in a safe environment because they're still students. Even if they fail, they're supposed to fail there. They're not supposed to fail when they already have their diploma or degree in ECE. So it is a very safe environment. Unfortunately, again another gap is because our university curriculum is very much regulated by the MQA. If we don't submit so for example, I teach MBA, if I want to send my strategic management or corporate governance syllabus to the MQA, I have to include the action experiential learning bit. If not, I'm not allowed to teach that. I'm not allowed to send my students out there. But then I will have to have MQA to approve, blah, 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 and then come back. So in my previous institution, it was a new institution, one of the newer private universities in KL. When we sent it out, the first submission, we already included the action experiential learning bit. So when it was approved, it was done deal, and then we could do it. So that's why I could have my data for 5 years. And it was proven that the action experiential learning is the way to go if we want our graduates to have the real life skills. But given there's some restrictions, public universities and private universities to adjust our syllabus, then I also understand that it could take some delay, but we can always start somewhere.
Thank you. Now, I think I have some comments, but I think I would like to open to the floor for questions. questions and comments. But please mention your name and the institution that you come from. Yes, yes, silakan. Yes, yeah, yeah.
I'm Suhaira.
Yeah,
Spoke earlier, but this afternoon I'm wearing this hat.
yeah. Can you like to use this? Yeah.
I'm Zohaira, Zohaira Ali, and now I'm actually the principal of the Carolina,
Yeah.
which is a 56-year-old kindergarten PGA, which, as I tell everyone, I inherited a kindergarten instead of gold from my mother in Israel. So the issue here now is that what I want to do, my question is that I also do outreach work at childcare.
Yeah.
And at childcare, it's B40s, right? And it's done once a month because that's my capacity. I'd just like to find out, is there a way in which universities can collaborate together and in a more systematic way reach out to the B40s in the urban area as well as in the rural area? You know, something that is more cohesive, because what is happening right now is when we reach out to these very young children once a week, because that's what we can afford, they come in, oh, we've got to do our CSR, so we've got once, and then, oh, we've got to do CSR once a month. But can we do something a bit more structured, where universities can get together as a group to form something a bit more cohesive to reach out to the people?
I think that's very good. And this is very, very important. And I think this is what we call the community involvement, which is so important to enrich and to and increase the quality of early childhood. Any one of you would like to answer? Yes. Make it short because
thank you,
the other question.
Zohaira, for your. So we as an academic, as mentioned by Dr. Hanija, we are open for the committee to work with us. So recently we have proposals to work with the B40, but around PG, but working with us mother. We would like to involve with this also as a perhaps after this maybe we can exchange details. So thank you.
So I hope you make a connection, and so that at least something come out of this this session. Yes, yes, Mr. Gan. Mr. Gan, right? Am I got it right?
Okay. So I'm Mr. Gan. So I just want to add on to the thing. I think childcare is more of the it's not the B40, right? It means whoever at homeless people, right? So if the childcare one, I think there is one school called Jaringan Kasih. It's initiated by KPM. They are working very well. I think the university can sound some students of KPM and Jaringan Kasih because their background, their whatever is quite poor.
It's difficult to get.
Yes. So they are initiated by KPM, but something can help.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah.
Because they
No,
are.
I work with them
Okay.
because they are under JKM and so I work with them before.
Oh, that's good.
I can get in touch with you. Okay. For today, for my cat is I'm from Persatuan Electric Malaysia. Mainly, actually, I was an operator. So basically, I think today we are all at one side, which is not the government side. I'm glad to speak something that more on to money and dollar. Okay, what I can see the whole entire problem, main problem here is the money. We want, as an educator, we want it to be more structural, more quality, more whatever, to give the best to the children. But happen is the money. You see, the teachers, as I said, some of the parents say that the salary is quite low. You see, they are diploma holder, and unfortunately, the salary is only 1,500, 1,600. It's similar like the minimum wages. And you got the diploma, you go to rural area, maybe you only got 1,200. You see, or people less than 1,000. So that is something that the diploma, it's quite expensive in ECC. Sorry to say that. But there are some initiatives helping here and there. So what I can see, ODL is something helping out, but we need some subsidy from government, because you want to implement a policy, you must sacrifice something. But other country, I'm not sure about the indication because I don't have the fact sheet. But what I can see that they are given some subsidy or some money from government to run the school, so that we can provide an allowance. So you are not contribute any money or any portion into my school, and you expect me to give what kind of quality of education? It's not fair. And we are all totally dependent on the school fee. So what else? You want to survive in the industry? There are someone is offering even lower. Our over the very minimum we calculate, no matter how we count, also is at the minimum. There are someone is even lower. So that is
Mr. Gan, we got your message.
yeah. That's money and dollar. Okay, that is okay. Another thing is I also want to talk about some policies. Okay, what I can see here, I agree what Dr. Hadija said that you are having a certificate doesn't mean you can teach. What I can see here is a lot of time is we only want off. The CBD hour or whatever continuous learning is not there. The monitoring is not there. Because what is the government is, they have a monitoring from time to time. There is something to align and so on. But in private education, it's free. It's just a guideline. You can go whatever it is. So I mean, it's not fair lah to judge just like this. You are getting 300 ringgit and then the ratio is 1 to 25. What kind of quality that we providing? Yeah, that is from me lah. Sorry for the time. I know you are rushing for time.
Yeah. Just to inform you that CPD, of course, the council is a CPD, but even with the teachers, the government teachers have a CPD, and the teachers grumble. Especially the CPD is to increase the English, right, Prof? You know about that, right? It's so the teachers themselves are not, and if you give them something, they grumble. And of course, the other about the fee. Originally, under the NKEA, we had subsidy for private subsidy fee, but the amount of the fee, they keep on going down until now it's almost zero. I think this is something that need to be looked into, right? Thank you. Yes. Well, they're all on this table. What happened to the rest of the table? Okay.
I was at the of law, developing norms for consultancy from law. I'm coming up with a suggestion for the early childhood education where this program might help. This is a solution, maybe that can be considered as an implementation for the early childhood education. Which the program we call it Brain A+.
Sorry?
Brain A+.
Brain A+, okay.
Yeah, it's something about we call it genetic brain profiling.
Yeah.
You heard about it? No. Okay. So it's about studies that you have done by Dr. Howard Gardner.
I want to make it short because we have questions. I want to get just make it short.
So it's a video of Dr. Howard Gardner based on the fingerprint reading 10 fingers. We can tell about your multiple intelligence, your attitude, your personality, and your career by right now. And it is 99% accurate. So we cannot train everybody to be a doctor, to be a police, to be a lawyer. So in the preschool itself, we as a teacher, and we are adapting all the preschools, and we are offering a free training twice a year for all the preschool teachers about this program and to introduce to the children and their parents.
Thank you. So it's available free.
Yeah. So free training for all the school teachers.
Oh, that's great. Take note that you all are great.
So yeah, this way is good.
Yes, okay, right. Yeah, okay, take note. Yes.
And I'm from Tom's consultancy program.
Yeah.
Because I have done this report when I was 33 to know myself.
Yeah.
And I've done this for my 7 years old boy.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's very implementing.
Yeah, I know with time we have reached, but very short one because I think just a short one.
Thank you.
It will be the last one. Yes, go ahead.
Hello everyone, I'm Michelle. I'm from Leapad Services as an education service provider. I'm here as a parent.
Oh, great. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I think we all talk about quality. Yeah, quality early childhood education. But I think to some extent, parental awareness varies My standard of quality is probably different from your standard of quality. Is there something we all can do so that parents ourselves understand what is the basic standard of quality that we should advocate for and look out for our children?
Okay. Those ECC Council and PTN, please take note. Yeah. So that, yeah. Right. Okay. Now, I think this time is it.
If I may
Yeah.
quickly just to respond to Juan and just now Juan you hi saya. So hi sorry. There is one hack that I could offer immediately for you when you mentioned really structured collaboration rather than just one off, right? In my previous university, what we did with Yayasan Chowkit, we worked closely with Anna and Tini, right? For the Landangan lah mostly, but some of them are working for juga. They install one lecturer from our university as the board. So we are talking about incentive here. So the reason why things are one-off because the incentive is short-term. So when we're talking about dollar and money for us academics, fortunately or unfortunately, the dollars of money for us are like the engagement, the collaboration, whether we can write papers or not, whether we can give our insights or not. This is our drives. So if you have a yayasan or satuan, even a small collaboration, probably you might want to put an academic who can be more of a permanent member rather than just like a one semester, one off program. That way it can be structured, it can be more sustainable, and they can think about succession plan. So next time ada academic lain who can take that spot. So I think that is one way to, in a way, solve the problem. Academician. So maksudnya lecturer be one of the board. Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Any question?
Can I make one comment?
Yes.
My name is Esther Yong. I'm the chief of ECC counselor. I just want to make this comment or maybe a reflection.
Okay. We all notice, we all know that the ECC industry is actually in a dilemma. On one hand, the practitioners and so on, they all believe that early childhood educators are professionals that should at least have a minimum qualification. I think that one we welcome. But on the other hand, we know that the teachers themselves, the in-service or even pre-service teachers, they do not welcome or they are not so excited about this idea, mainly because of the issue of course, the remuneration and also the salary scale kind of thing. I think the ministry, all the agencies and parties involved should really sit down and see how to close this gap. Because if we, as long as we don't close this gap, I think at the end of the day, we can talk about what kind of qualification we want, what kind of quality and physical education we want to provide for the children. But if the teachers are not there to have the buy-in, and we can't afford to get them excited to, take on this role, we will not reach there. So I think this is something that I just want to leave as a point of reflection that, the ministry involved and all the agencies involved and all the parties of teachers should really seriously sit down one day to look into this one.
Maybe can I suggest that all the association pertaining to early child education sit down and send a proposal to the government. I think you all need to collaborate and bring this up. I think that is very important, right? Because it's not always just blaming it's your problem, it's our problem. Yeah, you always say it's other people's problem, but this is our problem. We're talking about children. So I think we need to do something positive rather than just come here, say out all your frustration and all these things, but actions need to be taken. And if you say it's not my problem, no actions will be taken. So I hope you all, the representative from the various, especially the associations, you are responsible for your members for the quality of early child education. And I think you should sit down and do something about it. Now, any other question? Any other question? Because I'm told that we can have another extend to 10 more minutes. If you have burning things, we don't want you to go home feeling frustrated that your concerns are not being expressed. No more? Oh, yes, go ahead. Because we want you all to go home feeling that,
Just
yeah.
a comment, my name is Keith. I work for the book industry chamber, where many hats in Rotary Club as well. So the thing is that, actually for those of you who organize or have a faculty that teaches early childhood education, this is just a suggestion now. Because we grew up in the international school, we know all the international schools, you may actually offer micro-credential courses for parents. Actually, parents the market will be crazy for you. Probably you talk to Dr. Go and start something with just help international school parents alone. I think you get a lot of parent clients. You know what happened? Like say in our school, last time we were in one of the international schools, a kid got bullied. The parents went to attend a master's course on bullying just because the kid got bullied. And then or every little thing, the parents, actually a lot of international school parents, especially mother, are very frequent because our husband is so rich. They have a lot of time in the school or do kind of thing. That could be a market that you may branch out into. All right. Now, the other thing for those of you who are teachers as such, you cannot avoid technology. The important bit is that when people shun technology, however, one thing for sure is that teacher who use technology or deploy technology will replace those teachers who don't. This is going to be a future, whether to what extent or what percentage, that is a guaranteed sure thing. And the other thing is that about ChatGPT and all these kind of things, a lot of people are sharing about it, right? You see, now if you're a consultant, the people will ask you for the services that are very cheap. They say, oh, I already checked this on ChatGPT. I don't know whether you have something more to tell me. That is, they tell you they already checked ChatGPT. Don't be a consultant and tell me about the ChatGPT. But on the other side, as teachers and educators, you can tell the students, this thing I asked you, I already checked on ChatGPT. I know what is the expected answer from ChatGPT. Maybe you can tell me more from an application perspective. And it's a trick for the teachers to tell the students, I already checked, you are definitely going there, and I want you to tell me more, use your creativity and local application. Just sharing. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Now, if not, I would like to conclude by giving just a few to summarize this session. We know, as I think all of us know, that those who are here know the importance of the early years, particularly as is shown by the neuroscientists finding, and that if the child experiences are compromised by wrong input, maltreatment, and all that, it will affect the child long life, but throughout his life. And that's why it's so important that the children in the early years have quality experiences. And these quality experiences, we must remember, is not only in preschool, it's at the home. Is the home play a very, very important part. And that's why it's so important for the childcare centers and the preschool to work with parents, because the value that you promote or you develop or promote in the childcare or preschool differ from that of the home. The child will be confused. The child will be confused, or they act in one way at home and then they act in different way at home. So there's the involvement of parents is very important. We all know that it's very, very important, and we also know that children must have access to experiences in the early years, whether it is experiences at home or the experiences in the childcare center or in the preschool. Unfortunately, in this session, we tend to focus only on preschool and forget the early years. The first 3 years, in fact, is more critical because 80% of the brain development occurs in the early years, and by only by the age of 5, 90%. So 80% before and only 10% further, and of course another 10% throughout your life. So so it is absolutely important that they have not only access but access to quality. And I think is, as you all rightly point out, we will also be able to define what is quality. Quality doesn't mean paying high fees. and some parents charge by the high fees, but and some parents see that what is important, good quality means they give lots of homework, and so if you don't have worksheet, they will ask, hey, why you're not on worksheets and all that. So what is so important that showed today that the brain research of neuroscientists, what is so important is that for brain development, you must give experiences for the child to ask questions. It is only by asking questions that the child learn. In other words, it's just not seeing and just absorbing, because it is through questioning that you further your education. If you just absorb, it's just learning what is being presented. So it is through questioning, and your activities should encourage creativity, innovation, asking questions, and so forth. And that's why you need preschool teachers or early child educators who have the knowledge and the competency to develop the child, to provide the kind of experiences for the neurons in the brain to make the connections, the right connections. If you give the wrong experiences, they make the wrong connection. And so that is, the foundation will not be of quality. And so what is very important is that the training of teachers are very important. You cannot have quality early child educators if the training is below quality. And so here you find the early child educators, which the educators, which are the trainers and the lecturers, they have to provide quality training in order to provide quality early childhood. And I would like to suggest that maybe Malaysia should make some modification to its regulations, that when the teacher is freshly out of the course that it just graduated, they are not allowed to take a class because they are not able, they have not handled a whole class. So like Singapore and other countries, they have to complete a number of hours under supervision when they are teaching, so that they're being guided and to gain that kind of experience to interact. So maybe we need to have that added to the regulation to enable them to be more effective, because if they are not able to do the right thing, the child's development is compromised. So it's very, very critical that when you talk about quality, it's not just at the childcare center or preschool, but it's throughout. It goes right to the top, and that include the policy makers and so forth. So there's so much more to discuss, but time does not permit. And of course, because if you give me the microphone, I will hold on, and I will have lots and lots to say. So I'm sure you all are thinking of the traffic jam. So thank you once again for all of you. It's so encouraging to have all of you here, to know that you all are passionate about early childhood education. We were so worried that we will end up with 3 or 4 people, and I would like you all to join me to thank all the panelists. Right? And also to pat yourself because of the importance you have placed on the well-being of children and the nation. So thank you.